All right, let's pull back the curtain on something fascinating and, yeah, maybe a little unsettling. We're talking about those hidden tactics of influence, the ones shaping our decisions every single day, often completely under the radar.
So let me just ask you straight up. Are your choices really your own? I mean, think about it. That last favor you agreed to, that thing you just bought, or even the last argument you just gave in on. We're going to dive into the invisible forces that might have been pulling the strings.
Okay, so what we're talking about here has a name, shadow persuasion. And it's a great name for it, actually. Just picture these invisible strings that guide how we act and react in conversations, at work, even with our families. It's all about seeing these super subtle but incredibly powerful dynamics. So what is it exactly? Well, at its core, shadow persuasion is a set of tactics, a playbook really, used to influence and, yeah, sometimes control what people do. And here's the key part. It works by tapping into our natural psychological vulnerabilities. You know, the very things that make us, well, human.
All right, now for the really good stuff. We are going to crack open the Manipulators Toolkit. We're going to look at the 5 key tactics that are at the very heart of shadow persuasion. Because, just knowing what these things are is the absolute first step to spotting them.
Yep, there are 5 of them, 5 core techniques we're about to break down. And I'm telling you, once you see them, you are going to start noticing them everywhere. So let's jump in.
First on the list is something called the yes ladder technique. And it is so sneaky because it's so simple. Here's how it works. Someone starts by getting you to say yes to something tiny, something easy, a no-brainer, right? Then they ask for something just a little bit bigger. And by the time they get to what they really want, the big request, you're already on a roll. You've built up this yes momentum. It plays directly on our deep need to be consistent with ourselves.
Okay, next up, the illusion of choice. And this is a classic. You get presented with what feels like a real choice, right? Hey, do you want to do the report now or this afternoon? But take a closer look. What's the goal either way? The report gets done. See? Both paths lead to the exact same destination they wanted all along. You get the feeling of control, but really, you're just being steered.
Oh boy, this next one. I think we've all been on the receiving end of this. It's all about triggering emotional guilt. That phrase, after all I've done for you, it's so powerful. By wrapping a request up in a past favor, they make it almost emotionally impossible to say no. It totally bypasses logic and goes straight for your sense of obligation. It's a real gut punch.
Tactic number 4 is maybe the most subtle, but man, is it powerful. It's the strategic use of silence. That's it, just an extended, awkward pause in a conversation. It creates this huge psychological pressure, doesn't it? Most of us can't stand it. We rush to fill the void. And in that moment, we might give up information we didn't mean to, or agree to something just to make the tension stop. It is a total masterclass in pressure without saying a single word.
All right, our 5th and final tactic. And this one is where things get a little inception. We're talking about planting false memories. It all starts with something so simple, a confident but totally incorrect statement.
And then that same statement gets repeated, maybe with even more certainty this time. See, our brains, they're not perfect video recorders, and when we hear something asserted over and over again, especially with a lot of confidence, the line starts to get really blurry between what someone told us and what we think we actually remember.
And here's the final nail in the coffin. The idea is now presented as a fact that everybody knows. The second they say, everyone remembers the blue coat, they're using social proof against you. It makes you doubt your own memory. And before you know it, you might find yourself thinking, yeah, I think I remember that blue coat too.
Okay, so we've seen the what. We walked through the 5 tactics. But now for the big question, why? Why do these things work so well? Well, it turns out they all draw their power from the exact same source. And that source is us. That's the common thread. Every single one of these tactics works by exploiting our very human vulnerabilities. Things like our need to be consistent, our desire to just get along with people, how much we hate uncertainty and silence, the incredible power of our own emotions, and of course, the fact that our memory just isn't perfect. And listen, these aren't character flaws or weaknesses. They're just part of the human operating system.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Hearing all this can feel a little heavy, a little disheartening. But hang on, because this is the most important part of this whole thing. The goal here isn't to make you paranoid, not at all. It's to make you prepared.
It's about forging all this new awareness into a shield.
And really, this is the number one thing to take away from all this. Just knowing that something like the yes ladder exists, or that silence can be used as a weapon, or that your memory can be messed with, that knowledge is your single best defense. Because awareness gives you the power to hit pause, to see the tactic for what it is, and to make a conscious choice instead of just having an automatic, unconscious reaction.
So I'm going to leave you with this one final thought to chew on. Now that you can see the strings, now that you know what shadow persuasion looks like, take a look around your own life. Who do you see pulling them? And look, the point isn't to start pointing fingers or placing blame. It's about something much more important: reclaiming your own choices.